That's it. That is now loss number 7 for the season. And I do kind of feel like reality it's all kicked us in the arse right now. We understand what the season is going to be. It's going to be another miss. We aren't getting Champions League football. We may not get European football at all. And now uncomfortable questions fall around Mauricio Pochettino. Now for myself, I'm not someone that sees things in black and white terms. I think it's one of the laziest ways to deduct when issues happen. I think to myself, can Poch do better? Absolutely. But at the same time, can players also do better? For sure. Can the owners do better? Can the directors do better? Absolutely. And every successful institution and club, there is a unity between every single one of these groups I've just described. That's how success works. That's how this game works, yeah? And right now, we're seeing failure across every single division. And this is why we are seeing a season statistically that is going a lot worse than the disaster that was last season. That is crazy. That is unreal. How have we got to this situation again? How have we made things worse even though we've cut the squad down? We've signed even more players. We've broken the British transfer records. How has it come down to this, my friends? That's the questions on all our minds. No one has the right answers. In moments like this, it's very easy to scapegoat. Badia Shill playing this guy on side. Levi Cole not throwing himself in for a block. Mudryk not taking his chance. Brogy not doing this. It's very easy to just blame circumstances on individual moments. But I think that's incorrect because you miss the entire picture when that happens. And I think for all being honest, it's very hard for any single one of us, myself or anyone, to single-handedly point on what the main issue and area is. I cannot do that for myself. For myself, my only explanation is this is a collective failure across the board right now. And in sports, it takes more than just buying to be a successful team. It takes a lot more than that. All this data approach we're seeing in the game right now works if you're a Brighton or if you're a Dortmund, because that's going to allow you to buy guys for nothing, flip them for 10 times the amount. But are they winning things? Are they winning the league? Are they winning silverware? They're not doing that. Their success is on making money as a business. Is this approach working for us right now? I'm not too sure. And as I keep reiterating, I'm someone myself, but I had no idea that it would be this disastrous because we went into uncharted territory. None of us had any idea how things would play out. We were just responding to the levels of ambition we were showing in the market. We're fans, for God's sake. We're not on the board level. We can all understand that. And at least the actions in the market was kind of communicating that there was a vision, there was a sense of confidence for us to get behind and believe in. But I think now we're seeing the reality of results on the field week in, week out. I think it's simply the fact that we're kind of finished right now. We're kind of finished. Of course, can we do things to mitigate some of these issues? Because ultimately, I think that's what the conversation is based around. You know, what small things can we do to be less shit? It's not what can we do to be better, to rise up the table, to start fulfilling our potential, because I don't see that happening right now. I think too many things collectively aren't really working. I think number one, the players need a bit more time. I think number two, we lack some experience in certain positions. I think number three, Pochettino has been a bit inconsistent at times. I think number four, it hasn't helped Pochettino that he hasn't got the players that he asked for and the experience he wanted because, ultimately number five, a lot of the decision making we've seen with this team has come from the sporting directors who've had full control to mold this club in their image. So my friends, it's a trickle down effect. There's only so much each party can do. And this is why I keep reiterating. It takes a combination of every department, from the players to the management to the directors, to be in unity. And this is how you see the formation of every successful team in the world. Look at them and you'll see they have everything patterned on every level. And sadly, we just aren't there, my friends. And is there any point just criticizing individual performances? It's another game. It's another game where we've lost it in moments. Did Everton bust the gut throughout this game? Did Everton play their best game of the season? These teams never do. It was any counter-attack, but guys went to sleep for a second, and then some poor set-piece defending to kill us off right at the end. Teams play against us, as I've said, because they know moments will come if we just keep our shape. If we keep our discipline, that's what we're losing against right now. We're not losing against incredible tactics that's nullifying our players or surprising us or doing anything. You know, these defeats now, they're routine, they're predictable. The way we play is rehearsed and predictable. We've seen these same patterns of play not really amount to much at all. Of course, Poch can get some criticism. I mean, the way we play the final 20 minutes is how we should have started this goddamn game. Using Armando Broja as if he's ever been that striker links the play up. Absolutely not. Continuing to use Enzo Fernandez in this 10/8 role. Just absolutely wasting him, for God's sake. He isn't Nkunku. He isn't Khan. Some of the best stuff we've seen from him is when he gets to receive deeper and pushes the team up the field, for God's sake. And you've gone back to reiterating something that's never, ever, 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 ever gonna work. And this is where Poch can take some criticism for this, for God's sake. There's players that you could have turned towards. We've got nothing to lose. Maatsen left back, give Mudryk proper overlapping support. Is it any surprise that in that 20-minute period we saw a bit more threat from Mudryk? The execution wasn't always perfect, but at least there's a bit more consistency. He was on the ball a bit more. He was trying to make something happen, and on a few occasions, this guy was playing some great cutback crosses into the 6-yard box and into that 18-yard box, but no one there to attack or get on the end of. We saw little signs of what the blueprint could have been like if Pochettino got things right. But again, are we seeing what we normally see? Managers who are failing that feel the pressure and then start to manage against their best instincts. I mean, as Chelsea fans, we've seen this. It's a story of being a Chelsea manager at this point, for God's sake. You know, the wrong decision making. I mean, my God, if you're playing most of the game for 70 minutes here where you have no penetration down the right flank, that's the flipping balance you're bringing in the attack. You know, is it any surprise that until Sterling came, or not even because of him as an individual, but because the team collectively needed someone on the right that could at least penetrate the spaces, that can bring width? If you've got Cucurella and Palmer for 70 minutes, 2 left footers receiving wide, where's the ball going to go, for God's sake? It's going to go backwards. Backwards, 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 backwards. And this is why all our possession game is boring. It's bullshit, man, because it just lacks any substance. It's just a numbers game. It's a fugazi. It's just like a bit of a myth. You do nothing with the ball. And the players that have shown they do things with the ball, Enzo Fernandez, for God's sake, that's the passing range, the penetration between the lines. You know, we signed 2 of the best young ball progressing centre-backs. We have 2 of the best young ones in Europe in Colwood and Badiashile, but when do you ever see their passing really breaking lines, really playing through defences, you know, really finding those attacking men in support? It's just like an amalgamation of nonsense that's collectively just creating this mid-team that's very easy to play against. That's very easy to beat. It's predictable. There was not one clear-cut proper chance in this game today. Everything was coming outside the box. And these were tame shots that's going straight to the goalkeeper, not even testing, not making him think, not second guessing, not getting in his head. It was none of that. The odd few times, 1 or 2, 3 times in this game when at least a half chance fell in an okay area. The guys are too young to be hitting those balls first time. They ain't doing that. I'm looking at Cole Palmer, for example. You just hit that first time on your instinct. I'm looking at Enzo Fernandez, who struggled to get on the end of that Mudryk cutback cross. He should have been there, ready, in the right body position to hit that on goal at least. We ain't seeing none of that right now. And of course, Poch will take some criticism for this, for the use of the squad, for not maybe using what we have. And listen, it's not like a few decisions are going to turn us into a winning team. I think we're kind of past that, to be fair with you. You know, it's kind of crazy that Poch's persistence on using Enzo is in this 8-10 role. It really shows you how desperate he was for an Nkunku or Kans. And I think maybe in like a different alternate universe, they could have had a bigger impact in terms of what we're doing this season to play, right? But I think in terms of having any reaction, and I think this is where I'm a bit disappointed in Poch today, what was the reaction? We've seen this game a million times. Why was it not instantly first half subs coming on? Because we only have flipping 50 minutes to get back in this game and try and win things, boys. You know, where is that energy that you're communicating to the team? You know, it was poor reactions, tons of late subs that had barely any time to change things, and the only time he started to look like a semi-capable team was in the final 20 minutes, and then it come at the expense of an Enzo Fernandez who's off now. Imagine if we had Enzo starting the game with how we finished the past 20 minutes. All these details, and this is where Poch isn't doing it right now. And now uncomfortable conversations and questions are coming. I don't think it's solely on the guy. Absolutely not. And let's keep things flipping real. I cannot even imagine many managers that's coming in right now and turning this club around overnight. I just think we're past that, if I'm being real. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Let us know below. But in your heart, in your brain as well, do you honestly feel like there's just a manager away from fixing everything? I mean, let's be real. I mean, as fans, we always thought the issue was not having players who were good enough. Then me, myself, all of us got gassed by all the talents and potential and signings we made for stupid money. And we're seeing that actually these guys are doing worse than a lot of the guys that we sold. You know, that identity in your Rubens and a lot of the Cobham grads that we've always kind of not really rated, even your Hudson-Odoi and co, at least they was producing with more goals and assists than what the new guys have for the past 18 months now. I think that's just a reality. Don't care how you take that, that's just the fact. And it's just like there's been a lot of aggression in terms of changing this club around, as if like, you know, we were like in the bottoms of the barrels, like in the depths of hell in the league, and that this aggressive approach was the way. And it does kind of feel like every issue we force has come down from the fact, in my humble opinion, that's the only thing I've seen, is that we force everything too soon, too fast. It should have been a Newcastle approach of being a bit slow, doing it window by window. Instead, now you're in a situation where it'll be 2 years in a row where we don't have Champions League football. And now those uncomfortable questions come, because the reality of this season is, irrespective of anything you're telling yourself, anything you're reading in the press, deep down, getting Champions League football was key. I was saying this throughout the summer. It was reported a million times during the summer. Who cares? Who cares? That was the reality. We had to secure it. And now I'm a bit worried about what the future means now, because it's quite obvious that we're nowhere near getting Champions League football. Thank God we're not in Europe, because there's no way we can even perform in Europe and then perform in the leagues together. I just don't even think we're capable of doing that, which is kind of telling you everything about how far behind we are from this vision of this Chelsea team we're trying to become right now. So I just think it's not looking good at all, bruv. It's looking absolutely despicable. It's looking diabolical. It's looking like I don't know what's going to happen. In January, yeah, so what? We'll probably splash out a few hundred M's again. What's that going to really bring? What's that really going to do? Lord knows. I don't know what's going to happen. And there will be uncomfortable conversations around Pochettino, because he was hired because the directors felt the belief that he would be the best candidate to help us secure the objective of getting Champions League football. Yeah, that was key. We would have spent more last summer if we had Champions League football. We wouldn't have forced some of these mad sales near the end, yeah? It wouldn't have happened. This is serious that we aren't getting this, and it's looking already set in stone now that it just isn't going to happen this season. I'm going to feel sorry for guys like Nkunku when he returns, because he's going to have a lot of unrealistic expectations on his shoulders when he's going to need some time to get used to the Prem, for God's sake. He's not played one game. He's going to need a lot of time. Time that no one will have patience for, sadly. And honestly, I think after this loss today, for me, I had to see a reaction. I was saying, I didn't see any of that from the players, from the manager, from no one. And I think this is kind of summed up where our season is right now and what will happen going forward. So I think we're finished now for the season, boys. If we turn this around, it's beyond me. I'm not going to see it happening. You know what I mean? I do my best. I do my best with my opinions, but I think we're finished, man.